race control, overnight there were major changes between 3rd and 6th place, but one thing remains the same. Team Brunel is still leading. So we have with me today special guest Alan Block of Sailing Anarchy, and on the phone, skipper of Team Brunel, Bouwe Bekking. So first for you, Bouwe, I have one question from social media, a guy named Greg Rains. He says, it seems some of the boats have been having similar breakdowns. What significant breakdowns have you guys had this leg, if any? And are you doing anything to strengthen areas where other boats have had problems?
We don't have any specifically issues. Of course, you just try to look at the weather and to plug along with it. But we had some small breakages on sails, but that was not due to our own mistakes. And you just plug along.
Nice. All right, Alan.
Bouwe, it's nice to talk to you, man. How are you?
G'day, Alan. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, I was reading about your auto tack last night, or maybe 2 nights ago, and you said that the boys have been working pretty hard to fix the code 0. Obviously, a really important sail for the next 7 days, possibly. Is it back in shape? Is it going to be able to perform to nearly full level?
Oh, it's looking like new, mate. The boys did a good job and fixed it really quickly, so you can't even see that there was some holes in it.
Okay, we have another social question for you, Bouwe. The photo that you guys took the other day, essentially everyone's sideways, how did that actually happen? How did you get that together?
Well, I was asleep at that place, but I think it's just timing. I think the guys just went on command from himself and then he just shot it off.
All right, so he's strong. Nice.
It showed a little bit more lightheartedness than we usually see from you, Bouwe. Usually you're a pretty serious guy until the microphone comes out. Would you say the mood on board is pretty light, or are you all a little bit nervous at Abu Dhabi coming up your butt?
No, for the time being, it's still pretty relaxed over here. We just know it's up and down, and looks like for the next 2 days we've got a reasonable pressure. But it's just to keep the pressure on, and we know how hard yard racing is. You win some, you lose some, and for the time being, we're looking more to our own which way we have to go, because the guys behind you can't control the time being.
Now, I think that if there's any debate raging right now in the tens of thousands of views of each forum thread about the Volvo Ocean Race, the debate is about AIS. And about it's I guess the thought is that AIS has absolutely different the way this runs a little bit. It's such a big part of the tactics of the group. Because staying inside that AIS boundary is such a big deal. What do you think about that? Especially given your big flyer this leg that led to your lead. And about that, I don't know, about AIS being such a part of this race, is there a way to change it, or do you like it?
Well, I always, I think I had a couple of times, I think AIS is it's a great feature when you're sailing in a busy shipping lane. But for the rest, of course, it keeps the race really close. But I don't like it because it just means that if you make a move, other boats can see straight away what you are doing, and it's just for boats who want to follow other boats, you can just follow up. So I think for the racing, it's pretty bad. I think it's not really hard racing anymore. But it's the rule what the rule is, and it's maybe a thing for in the future to speak about for the next edition of the race. When you have to have it on. I think like when you're in busy shipping lanes, of course, it's great. Like right now, I can see there is another ship, it's actually a commercial ship just crossing us with a mile. Of course, they can see us as well, but we can of course, it would be nice to switch our own one off when we are sailing together with other Volvo boats in our vicinity.
I appreciate that answer, Bouwe. It's something I'm going to ask everyone right now. But so if you had a choice between no AIS ever, or you were able to see what everyone did all the time, wherever they are, which would you choose?
No AIS. No AIS.
All right, well, there's the first answer. Bauer, Dong looked very strong and has been looking very strong, obviously, all the way to China. A very intelligent man who's involved in the race told me that, in his opinion, the Chinese are great at going home, but they beat their boat up to get there, and they shouldn't be as big a factor in the rest of the race. But you should. Do you agree with that? Do you think that now it becomes the two best prepared teams, maybe, which is possibly Abu Dhabi and yourselves, or do you still have to worry about these other teams getting in the lead?
No, I think it's just still everybody's race, and we know from previous editions. I think the race really starts going in once we're in Rio, and after there because there's so many things still possible. I think the sail carts are coming into play pretty soon as well. If people have chosen the right ones, I think some people have already used some of the new sails. So it's still everybody's game, and I think everybody still has a chance to win this race.
Great, Bauer. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. We'll let you go. Best of luck in the doldrums, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Bauer.
Okay. Take care.
All right, this one's for you, Alan. As you said, they are essentially more lighthearted now than you would almost expect out of that team, especially out of him. But it seems like we've seen that in a lot of videos. We've even had some videos we couldn't put out because they were just a little bit too much fun. But why do you think that is? I mean, they clearly seem to be enjoying themselves. Does he just have the right team dynamic on this race?
I think it's a couple things, Jenny. I think, look, anyone who races knows how much more you're enjoying life when you're in the lead, okay? It could be horrible weather, and everyone else in the fleet can hate it. But if you're leading that race, you're having a great time, and it's the best regatta ever, and the race committee's awesome, right? I think there's a lot of that there for sure. I think the contrast of Team Brunel coming in 5th place into China, which I don't think they ever thought they'd get a 5th the entire race, contrasted that with a bold move that paid off and a nice big lead, a 30, 40, 50-mile lead in the doldrums, which is massive. So that's got to be a shining light for them, right? These are all positive things, but I think there's a bigger one, which is the beginning of this race, not the first leg, but then all the way up into Arabia and then all the way up into China. They're not traditional routes. Bouwe is, if anything, a traditional ocean sailor, as you can hear from his comments on AIS. And these non-traditional routes, they have so much potential for getting inside these guys' heads and messing up their races. Now, it's downwind all the way to Auckland, it looks like, with some breeze. And then after that, we start to get into the real traditional parts of this race, the Southern Ocean. And I think Bouwe is as comfortable, and his entire crew as well, is as comfortable down there as anyone in the fleet. And that's what they're looking forward to, is getting back in the points and making this a race again.
Okay, you talked about the split. You write for Sailing Anarchy. The forums are very vocal, especially about the Volvo Ocean Race. I'm sure the split has been one of the hot topics, but what have been the other hot topics of debate for this leg?
You know, this AIS discussion has been huge because, it's funny how little tiny things can completely change the course of an entire event, you know, and whether it's in the old days when it was a little design feature that one designer got right and the other got wrong, and it changed the whole nature of the race. Now it's AIS, and the way that AIS works and the range of AIS, which is the automatic identification system, is dictating how these boats sail when they're all around each other, and it's taking out, for the people who love sailing and watching sailing, it's taking out one of those big factors that can really help a team, which is taking flyers, meaning sort of hiding and going off in a different direction and getting a real chance to do something special. And it may be taking some of that. That being said, this leg is showing that they're still there. It takes some bravery to split. Team SCA was the first one to split north, which showed the biggest bravery of all. Team Brunel followed a few hours later, and that, SCA was never close enough for it to really matter, but at least it brought them right back into the mix. And meanwhile, it sent Brunel out to I think at one point, an 80-mile lead or something like that. So I think it's something that the race is going to need to discuss, and the team owners and skippers will need to discuss, and and the public will need to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I come from a one design, smaller inshore background. I feel like you can see boats take flyers and you can still go, oh, I can see them out on the right side of the course, and it doesn't mean I'm going to go with them. So I might be to the side of why does it matter where you can see they're going as long as you then make your own decision. So I'm going to.
It's a good argument, and there's definitely a big split. I don't know where it goes from here, and I guess the public can go ahead and hashtag VOR and hashtag IS.
Where should it go? Well, the future, it's going to be we're all watching them 24/7. We're watching those decisions, right? And we're totally aware it's going to, well it could go anywhere.
And that is where this race is going. But the question becomes, what should they be able to see? Sure, we can see them, but what should they be able to see?
But we could send them back into the time before weather files and say, let's just send them out in the ocean and see who gets to Auckland first and not send them in. There's clearly two sides to this debate, and I'm on one, and he might be on the other. But let's move on. So you brought up SCA. I saw that there's a forum that essentially talks about the girls' performance. As you said, they led the split, which was awesome. They were totally with Brunel until a little breakdown with the J1 Halyard, and then they've fallen back. And it seems like we have maybe seen that in this leg and perhaps previous legs, but what do you think is behind the performance gap?
Jenny, and I think I value your opinion on this far more because you know all these girls better than I do, and you've sailed with a bunch of them.
And I sailed on this boat, actually, yeah.
Sailed on that boat. I think there's no confusion here, though. I think that people in social media and in the forums, yeah, they want to talk about it and figure out and dissect it in every possible way. But at the end of the day, it is big boat offshore crude racing that is the team's big weak point. Yeah, they've got plenty of miles. Yeah, they've got plenty of inshore one design. Yeah, they've got plenty of strong girls and great drivers, great trimmers. But that experience level on saving a minute or saving 2 minutes or saving 20 seconds when there's a little transition, when there's a breakage, when there's you see how quickly some of these guys with 5 Volvos under their belt fix things and jump to it. And whether it's the J1 Halyard took 20 minutes or 40 minutes longer to fix than it did on another boat, or whether, when the wind drops 5 knots, the girls are a little slower just because of a lack of experience. It's clear that it's there. I don't think anyone thinks the boat is slower than the other boats. I don't think anyone thinks sails are slower.
I mean, it's the reason they made a women's team, right? To give them experience, essentially, so that the next race, which SCA is hopefully in again, they'll be better, and the one after that, the girls will have sailed 3, or some of them will be new, but yeah, agreed, it's just a bit of that. Okay, so you are an American. You know Charlie and Mark, the Americans on Avimetica, really well. They were on the podium last leg. They were on the podium until last night here. Were you expecting them to do that well?
It's actually exactly what I forecast.
Of course, right.
Of course it is. I mean, again, those guys lack the Volvo Ocean Race experience, but most of the team has lots of experience in very big, very fast boats. Maybe not a ton because they're all so young, but I mean, even like Alberto, you've got guys that have been driving 100-footers for 2-3 years. Charlie was driving the Rambler 90. These guys have lots of big boat experience, so it was just going to take some time for them to figure out the boat because they know the one design. Obviously, I mean, Charlie's a world champion in one design. J24 is some of the most competitive fleets in the world. Mark is a world champion in the Melgus 32. They know one design racing. They know big boats, and they know offshore. So all they had to do was figure out the idiosyncrasies of the Volvo 65 and of this specific fleet. And I think it takes half a regatta to do that, and they're right at that point, aren't they?
Yeah, they're totally right in the hunt. Well, they were in the hunt for the podium until earlier this morning. We'll wrap it with that. Thank you so much, Alan. And for you guys online, if you're wondering about the photo that we were talking about, it's awesome. It's all the guys of Brunel legitimately horizontal on the back of the boat. Our office tried to recreate it this morning on land. Clearly not as easy, but check it out. Try to do your own if you want. Tweet it to us. And for the racing, they've all just crossed the equator earlier this morning. The doldrums are coming up. As we all know, that means lots of clouds, squalls, and potentially anyone making it out through the other side. We still do think the first team to make it out through the doldrums will be the team that has the best chance of winning into Auckland. So we'll let you know tomorrow on the next Inside Track. See you then.